Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along to this, the second of our base camps today. There were 4 different things you could have chosen from. You have now chosen the best one. This is really, it sounds a bit B2B, but what we're doing is looking at taking people trialling a subscription, converting them to paid customers. But actually this is applicable across all sectors, whether you're charity, whether you're retail, events, publishing. This will work for you guys. In a minute I'm going to hand over to our guest speaker, Tracy Daniel from Electric Word. My name's Anthony Humphreys. I'm one of the key account managers at Adestra. I've been in direct marketing for long enough to have transitioned from the direct mail piece into email. And for me, I think that the takeaway from this is that what we're going to hear about today allows you to get closer to your subscribers, to keep them engaged and take them from that stage from trying your product, your service, your event, your subscription, your magazine, whatever it might be, and take them into being a paid customer and beyond. So without any further ado, hand over to Tracy.
Thanks. Right, so I'm Tracy Daniel. I work at iGaming Business, which is owned by Electric Word. I've worked in marketing for over 6 years. I used to work at a different division at Electric Word, and before that I was at a online gambling company. And I'm responsible for all of our brand strategy, online and offline, all emails, social media and SEO. So this is just a brief agenda. We're going to go through kind of the background of the project and the challenges that we had and the objectives when we started out, how we did it, looking at the planning behind it and the thinking behind each stage, the results, so that it's email results and kind of the impact on our wider business, and then what we learned and what we're going to do going forward, and then we'll have a brief Q&A at the end. So just a little bit about Electric Word. So iGaming Business is part of Electric Word, and it is a specialist publisher. We have different divisions: education, health, sport and gaming. And we publish information in a wide range of formats: websites, magazines, books, and we run a number of conferences and have some consultancy services. iGaming Business is what used to just be a magazine. Now we've obviously got websites and an online subscription service, and we are targeted at the online gaming and gambling industry. And we've been in the industry for about 13 years. So as I said, we kind of have our online intelligence center. We have 3 different magazines, and we run an IGB affiliate conference series, which attract about 4,000 delegates per event. So the background of the project was, as I said, we used to just be a magazine, and I think as a lot of publishers are finding or trying to move online, we had the issue of we were giving free trials to the magazine where we were just people would sign up, fill out a form, and they would get in their magazine with a letter saying thank you for taking out a free trial. But when we moved that all online, we didn't really have a process of how to handle it online. We had all this content that was sitting on the website. We weren't really pushing anybody to that content. They didn't know about it. So the whole aim of this was really to highlight the different kinds of content that we had on the website and to showcase that service. The objectives that we had were to increase conversions from free trial to paying subscriber, to encourage our trialists to engage with our online content, and to improve the user experience of a free trial. So that was really important to us, because what was happening was that we had some people were aware of the online service, some people weren't, and it was just people were getting a bit confused. So it was quite a bad state of affairs before we started this. So we worked with Adestra on our solution, which was to start it's quite a basic linear automation triggered by somebody requesting a free trial. The reason why we kind of kept it quite linear and straightforward was that we really wanted to kind of test out like how the service was working, and I think also it was really important for us to kind of separate it from everything else we were doing, to kind of really be able to measure and monitor if kind of people were interested in kind of us growing our online channels, and kind of to look at those results separately from everything else. So it's got 9 stages. Our free trial runs for 2 weeks, and actually 2 of those are kind of happen after the 2 weeks. So it's like a trials expired and a sort of online survey to find out how people have found the experience. The solution, so this is kind of the thinking behind each stage, was there are 4 parts to it. The start of the program is our welcome email. Have people got their logins, what they can expect from us, and how to contact us. So it's got all of our customer service and client engagement kind of information on there. The middle part was really to explore the different types of content. So a lot of it was, we kind of looked at the sort of range of content that we had on the website and kind of bulked things together to work out what emails we would sort of have about webinars, the digital copy of the magazine, things like that. And then sort of as we were getting closer to the end, there was kind of an increase in frequency, your time is running out, a prompt to take out the subscription and the benefits of a subscription. And then the end of the trial was obviously it's expired, how you can subscribe and to get feedback. Obviously all of the emails have this kind of countdown header on them, which just kind of created a bit of urgency. So the results, in terms of our email results, we actually have seen some amazing things. We had a 49% open rate across all of the emails, which was a lot higher than anything else we were seeing on our marketing or our kind of news-based emails. And the click-to-open rate was 25%, which was again a lot higher than anything else we were seeing. So that was really encouraging. And in terms of the kind of business results, let's call them, the number of trialists logging into the website increased by 25%, and the conversion rate from trialist to paying subscriber increased by 33%. So obviously, like, I mean, that's a massive figure, but because we weren't doing anything, so it's kind of has to sort of be looked at in that light. But and I think even in terms of, like I said, this is really impressive, but there was also a huge impact on like what was happening kind of in the team. A lot of people, when we were kind of doing this in the old print-based way, it was really manual. So it involved in setting up a free trial and getting people to use the website was marketing, sales, and customer service. And it kind of just reduced all the admin for all of those different kind of departments. So everyone's kind of been really happy with that, and kind of we've been able to let people work on other projects because they're spending less time doing admin of, you know, setting up free trials. We're getting less queries in, people not knowing their logins or not knowing when they're going to see the magazine or anything like that. So that's been really positive. This was what somebody from our senior management team said. She obviously mentions that there's a huge impact on the conversion rates from trialist to paying subscriber, but it's also had a positive impact in terms of resourcing. By setting up the program, we were able to free up time and reduce admin for sales, marketing, and customer engagement, allowing them to pursue other projects. So in terms of like what we're kind of looking to do next, the first thing is really to split test and optimize the program. So as you can see, it's quite basic, it's very linear. But what we needed to do was actually collect a lot of the data that we needed to sort of judge whether any changes that we made were going to be good or bad. So we're looking now at kind of split testing the whole program, and that will be kind of across copy, but also stuff like frequency, things like that. The second is setting up a subscriber welcome series. So we called it a welcome series, but actually it'll run across their sort of year subscription. We know that kind of we want people to be as engaged as possible, and that's just going to really help us renew people. So the aim is really going to be to push people to the site through a series of like user tips, and then kind of slowly start warming them up through at the end of it for the renewal process, putting them in touch with their account manager. And then the third one is the preferences project. So we have a lot of data gaps, and also when we're collecting sort of stuff for the free trial, it's quite basic information. It's really just first name, last name, company, email. So the preferences project is really going to make sure that people are getting as much demographic information from people as we can, what kind of emails they want to receive, what sectors they're working in, and that's really going to allow us to kind of grow this even further by doing, sort of stuff around with dynamic content and things like that. So that's kind of the next step, really. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that, Tracy. So in a moment, we'll open the floor to question and answer session. I'm sure, having just listened to what Tracy had to say, by rethinking their approach to taking trialists from free trial subscription to paid customers, just rethinking that approach, adopting some new technology, saving time, saving resource, allowing marketers to do what marketers do best, marketing, not filling a system with data and campaigns. They've seen a 33% increase in conversion from trial to paid subscription. So equate that back to your business. What could you do with 33% extra more customers? What could you do with those? Tracy, what I wanted to ask you is, having listened to Steve Kemish's presentation just after lunch, one of the things he said was that benchmarking isn't theft. What's happening within the rest of Electric Word? Now they've seen this success, how's that going to filter out to the rest of the business?
So I know the sport division are planning on basically taking sort of this as a template and adapting it for rollout onto their sites. So I know that's definitely happening, and I think they're aiming to get that up in the next sort of few months. I'm not sure what's happening on the education side, but I know they are definitely looking at it. So I think from a marketing point of view, they're going to adopt this, but our events team are also kind of really interested in developing an engagement program for registered delegates. So we do a lot of kind of marketing around getting people to register for the event, not so much on telling people who are registered all the cool stuff that's going to be at the event. So that's kind of the next, that's something that they want to do.
So I think it's fair to say that, as I sort of alluded to in the introduction, this was about trialling subscriptions, whether it's trialling subscriptions, giving away free samples, giving away, one of my clients is Glasses Direct, and they do a home trial system. So if you want to buy your spectacles online, you obviously can't go and try them on as you would do in one of the high street opticians. So you can choose 4 spectacles, they get sent to your home address, you try them on, and hopefully buy all 4 of them is their aim. But once they've sent those out, if they just left customers' own devices to try them on and then ship them back when they've had enough, what engagement is there? What Tracy's been able to do with this system is to develop that engagement, to keep the people interested, to keep them trying those glasses, in this case trying the magazine, seeing the benefit from the magazine. These are the features, this is why you should go and buy it. And then you see those returns. So I think, I know in this room we've got people from all sorts of different sectors, events, from retail, from charities, publishing. I think you can all take something away. So now I'm going to open the floor to any questions or discussion points, any ideas you've got, please.
I've got 2 questions.
Yes.
What is on the automation example, like the actual screenshot, what does the bottom line do?
Oh, I think that's
Suppression.
Yeah, I think normally, it's quite linear, so we don't have the kind of, this is the filter, which is just people filling out the form. So if they filled out the form, they've got all the right information, they go down that way. But I think that if basically they didn't fill out all of the information, you can then put them along a different stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what?
Put anything in that stream yet.
No.
No, so maybe the development of this particular program would be that they've trialled it. It's and it's such a high value requirement to take them from free to paid that what you could do is say, well, this person hasn't engaged with this particular email as part of the email. Let's drop them out to a list that goes off to a fulfillment house to send out a letter, or to a telemarketing team to pick that up and develop that. So, we've heard a lot today about integration and the things that Adestra does to integrate with other systems. This is a way for you to integrate Adestra into other communications channels. Again, we heard from Steve about mixed channels. One channel isn't enough. So this has been the first step for iGaming. The next development might be to put some more conditions in. So after this second email, waits 3 days, then it asks questions. You put a filter in it. Has this person clicked a link? Have they shown interest in this? So maybe within the first email, there's something about events. There's something about other subscriptions. There's something about other things that iGaming do. So you could say, well, somebody actually clicked on the thing about events. They're obviously into events. So let's send them down a path about events. That's maybe where they're more engaged. They've taken up the free trial. They're not really interested in the magazine. So let's pop them into something about events and try and get them along to one of our events. Maybe send them a free ticket or 2-for-1 ticket, offer, whatever it might be. So you can get nice and complex. You can move somebody from one part of the program. So you see the little lozenge underneath the circle there. That tells you how many people are at that stage in the program. So you could say, okay, well, we can analyse and see where you start to sort of build interest and where people start to drop off. So you can then send them off on a different route.
My second question
Cool.
actually was about other touch points. So in this 2-week period, are they getting other touch points either offline or online?
Yeah, so we do have a kind of our sales team know to kind of contact them at certain points within the trial.
Is that kind of part of what you're going to expect?
Yeah, so it's sort of I think sales are contacting them on like day sort of 7 or something, but yeah, it's all kind of detailed in the program.
And then you take them out of any other?
Yeah, so this is what they've been taken out of all other kind of emails. It's quite an isolated thing. They're not getting any other kind of communications aside from this. Because I think what tended to happen was if we were putting them in the main list, they might get a whole lot of other stuff that they're not really ready for, they don't know where everything is, and it was just kind of diluting the message.
Yes.
I think it was your last slide that you had up, and you mentioned about a preferences campaign.
Yes.
How do you plan to launch that, and how do you plan to manage it? Is it through the Adestra form builder? And then is it, do you have your system integrated back into CRM so that the data's passed back? Or?
Yeah. So so basically, yeah, we're sort of spec'd out a whole new preference form with Adestra, and it's all going to run off there. But it is going to link up to our CRM. So that's part the data is passing through. We've kind of been doing a big sort of data clean at the moment, so to isolate like what sort of we're missing. Mapping sort of correct fields, and then that's all going to basically be re-uploaded to start the preferences program. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, I've got another one. And you also mentioned about your welcome series, sort of suite of messages.
Yeah.
Now, what sort of things do you cover off in your welcome messages? Is it? I think I saw on the slide you said something about just sort of tips and things like that. But is it like cross promotion of other products and services, or do you intend to have like dynamic content in your?
Yeah. So basically, what we're going to try and do is working with our editorial team to bring in kind of editors' recommendations for subscribers. The dynamic content stuff will be a big part of that. And also we do run conferences as well, so it'll be kind of specific subscriber offers for conferences, and we do also have kind of smaller subscriber meetups, so there'll be kind of that stuff will go out to them too. But a lot of it will be content led because that is what we do. We're an information provider, so it's working quite closely with the editorial team.
I think to add to that, one of the things that you can do with using something like this, because you can send people off on different sort of threads of the journey, you can start to use that as well as preference centres to build up information about your contacts, so that you can then be more personalised with your content. Because I think, you know, we're now as consumers beginning to expect things to be tailored for us. We're you know, that here's that special offer for you. We want to believe that is a special offer for me based on my preferences. And you know, when I get a special offer through that's absolutely nothing to do with me, I've never bought this before, it feels a bit disingenuous. So I think by using, I mean, as I say, this is quite a very simple linear program. By making it even more complex and asking different questions, has the person clicked on this link? Has somebody not clicked on something? Has somebody bounced? I mean, keeping your data clean is incredibly important. So we can put a rule in there. The little diamond is simply a filter. So you have a filter. Did this email address bounce? Yes. Drop it into a list. Send it to somebody to clean. Did this person click this link? Did they click the red link or the blue link? They like red. Let's send them information about red. They click blue. Let's send them information about blue. So you can actually start to get very, very clever with your email marketing campaigns to actually make them stand out and drive those conversions through. Any other questions?
I've got another question. How did you end up with 9 efforts? While I'm very pleased that there's only 1.
Yeah, so basically I took out a lot of free trials to a lot of different things, but the 9 thing, I just sort of made that up. I'll be totally honest. You know, I looked at a lot of our competitors. Some people were just sending out 1 email, some people were sending out an email every day, and it just kind of, nothing really stood out for me. So it was all content driven. As I said, when we sort of started looking at the program, a lot of it was based on getting people to engage with our content. So, you know, a lot of the emails are content led. So we had sort of, I think, the 3 or 4 different sections of content that we wanted to promote. So that was kind of the driver of this. You know, and it is something that we do need to test out now. We've got a really sort of good amount of data to sort of benchmark any changes, you know, against. So that frequency will be a thing that we test out.
I think that the kind of sectioning it is really interesting, and it actually, and I think we, like, marketers generally tend to shy away from like too many emails. So there is this idea of there being too many emails, and 9 sounds like a lot. But then for someone they might want 20, you know.
Yeah.
And to chunk it actually, and then think about, well, it needs 1 email for this bit of that section, it needs another for that. Let's not do what Steve was saying and put too much in 1 email.
Yeah.
Well, I've certainly seen that over the years with a lot of the publishers, a lot of other industries that we've worked with. It's all about testing at the end of the day, you know, whether it's direct marketing in general or email marketing. It's, you know, have a control and try something, and does it work? Great, do more of it. If it doesn't work, stop doing it and try something else. You know, it's all about that control testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also, one of the things you could do, I mean, there's 9 efforts there, but it might be that you know, the customer's actually signed up at effort number 3. So what you could do is, if you can get your transactional data into Message Focus, you can have a field that says, has person bought? Yes. Drop them out of the program. And then you could drop them out of the program, add them to your welcome program. So instead of you now thinking, right, I've got a list of people who've subscribed, I need to take that list from over here, put it over there, and do a new campaign. Well, why not do that? The whole point of doing the trial is to get people to sign up. So if you join up that thinking and say, right, okay, get people into a free trial, they sign up, they automatically go into a welcome program, because guess what? Now they've bought, that's not the end of your job. Your job is to keep them engaged right through the subscription cycle, so that when it comes to the renewal time in 48 weeks' time, you know, that they are still engaged with your magazine or whatever it is that you're selling, so that they then don't even think about renewing, they renew. And maybe you halfway through, you can see they're engaged with your magazine, they're reading the online content as well as the offline content. Perhaps you put a competition in your offline content that they have to respond to online by deploying their email address, so you can see where the crossover is. Are you therefore ready to move away from print and into online only? Or do you need to do more offline? How can you use that to be really intelligent about how you develop your products? And as I say, once it gets to the point where that person has done what you want them to do, you can take them out of the program, so you're not boring them. So because the worst thing you can do is get them engaged and then disengage with them. So this, have a play with this. Develop your programs. Have a think about how you could use it. I mean, is there anyone brave enough to say how have you had a think how you could use this?
Got a question there.
Yeah, so I just had a quick question. I work for Russell Publishing, and they're quite a relatively small company, so resources quite tight.
Yeah,
lots of
perfect.
things to do. Email marketing is a big part of it, but there's also like a lot of other areas of marketing. So for me, I just want to know how long it took to kind of put all this together. So I asked the previous question in the earlier session, but just be good to know how long it took you to do, and just in hours in the office, how long it took. It's something like this I'd really be keen on doing, but the challenge is, you don't want to kind of spend 2 weeks of your time just doing this, and then all your other bits of marketing is neglected.
Yeah, I mean, my team is really small. There's just 2 of us, and we kind of do subscriptions and events and everything. But I mean, it really wasn't. It's not that time intensive. Like, it depends how long your program is, but. I mean, the biggest work was actually just writing the copy for the emails. But once that was all done, to actually put it in here, I mean, maybe took, I don't know, probably about half a day, not even. But also, I wasn't really new to it, so it kind of will take you longer. Whereas if you kind of have played around a bit, it might take you less.
Of course, you can always lean on your Adestra account manager.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Registered. So exactly what you were saying, your event site. So once they've registered, they get an email saying thanks for registering, then another one about what's on the event. And then as we're announcing stuff, so tomorrow we're going to announce our conference program, that will go to everyone. But then I'm going to add that in as the 4th email in the conversion series, and then the 5th will be whatever else we announce next, so that anyone who registers will get that series ongoing. So you can it can be like a work in progress as well. Yeah,
that would actually, if you wouldn't have to then prep all 9 emails.
As long as you're kind of aware of where that endpoint is going to be, actually slotting the front end into that.
And just to finish that point, there's a lady at the back with a question, but we could just finish off that point. What you can do within the actual tool itself is you can actually sort of scope out where you think it's going to go. So it's a drag and drop functionality. You've got a little toolbar at the top, and you drag in your campaign node or stage. I think is the marketing term for it. Drag in a stage. You then go and find the HTML and add that to the email stage, the send email stage. So the square thing there, that's a send email stage. That is a true thumbprint of your campaign. As you see, these are all different, so you've got an idea to make sure that you actually put the right HTML. When you click on there, it will tell you the name of the campaign, a little pop-up box here, and over on the far side of the editor, there'll be all the stats about that particular campaign. Has it been launched before? What the campaign ID is, so you can go and find it. There's a link to that, so if you need to think, oh, actually, I need to change some of the content to that, you can go and find it quite easily. And so that's all drag and drop. But what you can do is you can think, right, okay, I normally send out 4 emails, so you can drag your 4 emails in. Now, then you can think, well, hang on, I want to wait a certain amount of time in between each one. Or maybe the 4th one is going to go out just before Christmas with a big Christmas promotion, and you don't want it going out until the 1st of December. So you can put a wait until stage in there, wait until 1st of December, and it won't launch that 4th one until it gets to that point. And you can drag all these bits and pieces in just to map out in your head what it's going to look like. Save it, go away, create your filters, create your HTML. All you have to do is create your HTML campaign. You don't launch it, you just publish it within Message Focus. And then you come back and you can just, there's a pick list, you can pick them all from that workspace and pop them in there. As you build the program and you save it, it saves versions. So if you've got a bit ahead of yourself, put lots of different stages in there and then think, actually, it's a bit complex, let's go back to version 2, drop down box, hit version 2, and you go back to where you were at version 2. So the lady that's been waiting for ages.
I just have a quick question. So you mentioned like login details. Did you have any other personalization in each email? Maybe.
Not currently, because we're still sort of working on our preference center stuff. We sort of, obviously everything has got, dear first name, but aside from that, we haven't actually put in the kind of dynamic content or kind of stuff related to their preferences yet. It's just because we've got some data issues where we're actually just trying to build that picture a bit more. So.
Did you do any testings along the way?
So this was kind of our test. I think in a way, because we didn't have anything, we sort of literally just had, here's your print copy of the magazine with your letter. We were kind of starting from scratch. So I think that's really why this is what I say is quite basic. And we're going to take this and work on this and test this. Yeah.
Lauren.
It was more around sort of understanding. So I'm from the IET. We're currently a customer, and we've started using the program builder. But what I guess it's probably more for you rather than you. But it was just to understand really. We don't have our system, our CRM system integrated. So there's no feed of data, which is very troublesome and challenging. But probably like a few other people. Mm-hmm. Now, if we've got, so for example, this is all based on email activity. If at one stage along this process we wanted to add in another level, which would be, okay, now at this stage we want to know, with here's our bunch of data of usage statistics, for example. How can we then integrate at a certain stage later down the line with another data set rather than just using activity within Message Focus?
Yeah. Absolutely, is the short answer. Okay. The how is more complex, so I won't go into that now. But yeah, I mean, we have a functionality. I think we mentioned it earlier on, our dynamic lists functionality. So you could have a dynamic list as the driver for this program, because obviously all these programs are driven by data, driven by a list. You start off with a list, you have a dynamic list associated to it, and all you need to do is add that new data feed into the dynamic list, and imagine like a big mixing machine comes in and then drops it down into the actual program itself. So yes, you can. There's different ways of doing it, but yeah, it wouldn't be a problem. Any other questions?
If you could do this again, what would you change?
Oh, good question.
Would you have done as many emails or less emails?
I'll have
More
20. I actually think I would have not been scared to test it straight away. I think I kind of went in with sort of, it was kind of a big change for the business, and so it has kind of ended up being sort of, I would say, I do think it's quite simple. I think I would have actually tried to add in the test there, because it is very easy to use. So
you've done like subject line test?
Yeah, I think I would have just done more of that kind of stuff.
Would you have done different branches? So for example, if people are responsive and say the first 3 emails, then send them a different email than the one you're going to send them. Yeah,
I think I would have done. I would have, I think, mapped out a lot of more stuff like that. Whereas kind of this was just sort of probably me dipping the toe in.
So the good news is that with the next release of Message Focus this month, I think, this month, we are going to be updating the program builder to add in testing, split testing. So we better put a split test node in there, put some rules in, split it, this percentage of data for the test, send half of it this way, half of it that way, and then send the winner to another campaign or what have you. So that's coming in the next release of Message Focus.
I was just going to ask how long it took before you saw results.
I think it depends on like the number of trials you're getting and what you view as like your kind of mark of what's the minimum amount of data you need to make a decision. I mean, I would say probably I let it run for like 4 weeks without I just let it run. And then I felt like we had enough sort of stuff. So, but yeah, that depends on like your volumes, I suppose.
And I think one thing that's worth pointing out is that the HTML, you can pull in RSS feeds, XML feeds, dynamic content, conditional content, all that can come in. You can pause a program at any time. So if you're doing a free trial, but you're only doing it to the first 100 customers, and you get to that stage where 100 customers have signed up, and for whatever reason you can't get that sign-up data into Message Focus, you can go in, you can stop it, and then you can automatically send anyone else that's registered for the free trial down to a different program. Say, sorry, you missed out, but here's a 50% off, or what have you. We'll put you on the list for the next free trial. So there's plenty of options for you to sort of have a play with this and have a trial. Be careful what I say next, because I got it wrong earlier on. What you can do, if you've got this switched on in your Message Focus platform, go into your training area within Message Focus and have a go with it. Be careful not to actually publish a program, because it will go out if you've got live data in there. Or create yourself a test list that you can sort of send it to and try it. If you haven't got switched on, speak to your account manager, they'll switch it on. We're here to help you with it. So if you've got ideas as a result of this session today, got some thoughts mulling around, and I don't know if this will work, pick up the phone to your account manager, talk it through with them, and they'll help you out with some ideas. Any more questions? Any ideas? Thoughts? Yes.
Have you got anyone at Adestra, client-wise, using it for a full annual subscription process yet? Because one of the ways I'm thinking we could use it would be to run our rolling subscriptions, but that means dragging in data on a daily basis, including from our customer services team, and rolling that. It wouldn't be able to be unique. You'd have to be feeding in all your other DM stuff. Have you got any clients doing that yet?
Yes, I think we have. Yes.
Yeah. It really depends upon the integration between whoever's doing your subscription database and us, basically. Provided that data sync is in place, then we can do that without any problems at all. Okay. We have 2 clients that one might use one specific part of their annual subscription renewals is running through us, and has been actually long before we had this.
Right.
Before we had the interface with it. That's not the 2 I'm thinking of, but that's quite possible. Yes, yeah. So I mean, it's all about having that data link between, you're getting all the different DM pieces and getting all of those different bits kind of linked in. As long as we're getting that feed of data in, then absolutely we can. Yeah.
There are a number of ways that data can come into the system, so it's worth.
Yeah, no, we use Salesforce. That's running it, but we did have an API link between the 2. But there's other teams involved, and it's kind of who does that job. Is it a marketing role? Is it?
Yeah.
It's just kind of figuring out in your head. I just wondered whether anyone else.
Our client engagement team they're working on the Welcome series, so while marketing's supporting them, they're actually driving that project, and that the plan is for it to run the whole renewal cycle as well. But they seem very happy to do it. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of said, well, I'm happy to support you and help you make your emails look better and everything, but that is their process, so that's kind of what we've been doing.
Another question.
Okay.
Something for Adestra team. Is this an additional cost for the? So I've got a subscription for the year to use on email marketing with yourselves, but do we have to? Is this like an additional cost?
The good news is it's free.
It's free. Okay.
I have to be careful saying that, because one of the audience here has a nervous disposition.
That's the question I would be asking. Yes, it's extra. No, it isn't. It is. It's added standing value.
Cool.
Right. I think if there's no more questions, we'll wrap that up now. I think you've got a few minutes, and then we're back into the main room for the sort of question and answer panel chaired by Mr. Steve Kemish.